Hi, second graders. Today we are on Module 3, Lesson 5, Deep Dive. We're going to look at why writers use adverbs today. You will need your blue workbook for today's deep dive and a pencil. The words in bold are adverbs. So an adverb is used to describe a verb or an action word. Writers use adverbs to add detail to their writing and give more information. Adverbs also tell us where, how, when, to what extent, or in what manner an action is performed. Adverbs usually modify verbs or change verbs, but they can also change other parts of speech, like adjectives or other adverbs. Many adverbs end in ly. You'll probably notice that on our words that are bolded on this page. So we're going to read through the words and we'll talk about which words are described by the adverbs. So let's read these sentences together. Ready? The people marched slowly. Our adverb is in bold. It is slowly. Let's read the next one. The people clapped loudly for Dr. King. Loudly is our adverb. Black and white people had to sit separately. Separately is our adverb in this sentence. And Martin Luther King Jr. treated people fairly. Again, fairly is our adverb. So what would these sentences sound like if we didn't have an adverb? Well, let's find out. Let's take out the adverb. The people marched. The people marched. Okay. The people clapped for Dr. King. Black and white people had to sit. Martin Luther King Jr. treated people. With all these sentences, you might be asking, how did the people march? Why did the people clap? How did the people clap? Black and white people had to sit where? How? It doesn't tell us anything if we don't have the adverb. Martin Luther King Jr. treated people. How did he treat people? That is the importance of an adverb. So I'll bring our adverbs back. Okay, so next up, we're going to look at some sentences from our book. Now it is 1963. There has been no slavery for a long time, but are black people and white people treated equally? No. What word in these sentences is our adverb? Our adverb in this sentence, or these sentences, let me fix my writing tool. Well, we have the word equally. What does it mean to be treated equally? What does that mean to you? This adverb, equally, describes how people are treated. So we are going to practice finding what the adverbs describe in your blue workbook on handout 5B where it says adverbs. So find this page in your workbook. Let's read the directions. It says, complete the sentence frame. The adverb blank describes how blank. Number 2, circle the word being described. Draw an arrow from the adverb to the word being described. Reflect on why writers use adverbs. So let's look at our example sentence. It says, but are black people and white people treated equally? So we are circling the word that is described by our adverb. Equally is our adverb, underline equally, circling treated. So it equally describes how people were treated. Let's look at some other sentences. I'm going to have you think first before I write in the answers. Number 1, the people marched slowly. First, underline your adverb. The people marched slowly. What is our adverb here? Our adverb is slowly. What does slowly describe? The adverb slowly describes how people marched. So we draw an arrow, bum bum, how people marched. They didn't march quickly. They marched slowly. The people clapped loudly for Dr. King. What is our adverb in this sentence? Remember, an easier hint to look for when looking for adverbs is to find which word ends with ly, because oftentimes that is our adverb. We have loudly. The people clapped loudly for Dr. King. So the adverb loudly describes how people did what? How they clapped. How people clapped. Now, is marched a verb? Is it an action? Yes, it is. That's why we call these adverbs, because oftentimes they describe verbs. So the first one, slowly, describes how people marched. And our second one, loudly, describes how people clapped. So your task today was to complete handout 5B. If you are done with that, you are done with the deep dive today. And don't forget, writers use adverbs to add more detail and make it easier to understand what they're writing.